this episode, Dr. Solar runs his dual inverter AC, cooks his lunch, and then shows you what the impact of doing all this stuff is on his inverter. So stay tuned. It is a very sunny day today, and as you can hear, the fan is on. If you pay attention, you can hear it. Right now, I am consuming 1,273 watts. I am producing 2,446 watts. And so far, I have generated 7.2 kilowatt hours. It's only about 1:30, I think. And my batteries are 93% full, and I'm pumping 1,000 watts into my batteries. Now let me go show you what else that's on. I'm loving this inverter. I'm loving this inverter. So of course, the mini fridge is on. The regular fridge, everything is frozen, of course, is on. I keep my cereals in here. And then I'm going to take you into the kitchen and I'll show you what else I have. This morning I had breakfast and I made it using my air fryer. I had bacon, sausages, eggs, and cereal for breakfast. I did not use my toaster because I'm out of bread, so I'm going grocery shopping. I didn't use my blender because I didn't need to blend anything. So now let's go and let's see what it is I'm cooking. This freezer is on. It's full. I had tortillas in here yesterday. The other day I've eaten them all. That's what's left of my bacon. And that's all pre-cooked food, already cooked food. And then here is my, let me turn it up because it just hit temperature. And here is my stove top. So I've always cooked with gas, but because we are able to generate much more than what we consume and the batteries are full, I decided to start cooking with electricity. And I've been doing this since Sunday. I purchased this on Sunday. Yes, I've been doing this since Sunday. And you know something? It's no different from everything else I do. So for lunch, let me get a rag because this thing will burn my hands in a heartbeat. I'm making, looks good, right? Let me see if I can get the picture without the steam showing. So I'm going to talk you through my decisions that not only guided what I have, why I'm on solar, and why now I'm cooking with solar power as opposed to cooking with gas. This is a gas stove and it served us pretty well. The house help cannot use the electric one. I'm the only one that's allowed to use the electric one. When the kitchen is remodeled, we'll buy a new one that gives the ability to cook with electricity, and we'll always cook with electricity. Let me turn this down so that I can have so let's go back to where the inverter is and I'll tell you what prompted my decisions. So I'm back. This is where my inverters that are dead or are dying, we store them. So as you can see, here's the transformer from one. This was from TBB. Here is another, the inverter by Rich Electric. This inverters actually did very well. What killed them was them being installed in an environment that had a lot of moisture and dust, and the boards fried because it got moisture, and it happened to two. I had a 6 kilowatt and a 3 kilowatt, both 24 volts, and I'll talk more about that. And then I had my Victron 48 volt Phoenix, and then I should have my first inverter was made by a company called Foshan Tanfon. They sold me junk. I mean, that is the worst company to do business with. We purchased the inverter from them. And once we connected them, they couldn't even power a fridge. The controllers in them blew up because they claimed they were MPPT, but 60 volts was the max you could put on them. So over time, I learned lessons as to what to buy and what not to buy. Rich Electric does mobility, things like they do motorhomes, yes, RVs. So that's where they build this for. I also purchased this charge controller. I did not get it to work. Must Power, as you could see. Well, Must Power sells it. And I have so much stuff lying around there that if I took time to show you the mistakes I've made over time, you would feel sorry for me. But I'm not asking you to feel sorry. I'm asking you to learn from my experiences. So I'm going to turn the camera to myself, and then I'm going to speak to you about the journey so far. I'm not going to tell you what it's cost me, because even I myself do not know what it's cost me. So I started this journey in 2014. I installed my first system in June, and that was the one that was sold to me by Foshan Tamfon, or Tamfon Foshan. Horrible company, horrible product. You know, they tell you honest. Once someone insists on telling you their introduction is honest, you should question them. Then I left that, and I put one. The next inverter I put up was one by Yiyan. Yiyan is sold as Ames. Many different manufacturers. That lasted up until, I think, January. Then I got the Rich Electric. Then from the Rich Electric, I went to the TBB. From TBB, I went to, who did I go to? Oh, that's a very nice question. I think I have to look at my videos to see where I went to. I did a TBB. Then from TBB, I went to, that's a very nice question. I have no clue. I've changed inverters so much at this point that I'm actually beginning to lose count of whose inverters I've purchased. And then I did in-charge controllers. I've done Fangpussen, both the FM and the Blue Clone, and they've worked fine with their limitations. And then I got the Schneider, and I used the Schneider up until this year. The Schneider connects MPPT 5150, and you know what? Incredible piece of equipment. Never had any issues with it. And then I went to Growatt. Yes, I did the Growatt inverters. Big fail. Did the first Growatt generation Growatt. Had some issues. They gave me the new model they replaced it with, and that was just as challenging and as difficult. And then I bought the Phoenix, and then I got the Victron Phoenix, and I also had the Schneider Connects 4850, SW 4850. And I ran that for a while, and you know what, they did the job well. The challenge I had was they had too many little bits that you had to connect to them. It was about the same time also I started experimenting with the Nissan Leaf batteries. I decided that lead acid batteries were not going to work for me because it was just too much stress. Each time I traveled out of Nigeria and came back, there was some tale of woe. Someone forgot to either water the battery, or it was just too much crap. You know, they didn't clean the batteries well. It was just too much stuff. At night, you wouldn't put lights on. You wouldn't run the fridge. During the day was the only time you could run all this stuff. So I had all this battery. I had 8 batteries with practically no capacity at night. So I went to the Nissan Leaf batteries. And you know what? The great introduction to lithium. Lessons, so many lessons you learn from lithium. One of the things, the sag thing was big. The ability to maintain voltage till the battery drained, that was another big one. The ability to pull high current without getting the cables to heat up, that was another big one. The ability to use smaller cables because of minimal internal resistance from the batteries, that was another big one. I mean, there were just so many things I learned from it. But the disadvantages also were that you are dealing with cells that you aren't very sure where they came from. You weren't sure what the capacity that was left was. So that was a challenge in itself that I had to deal with, and I paid the price for that for quite a while. Also, we experimented quite a lot. We did with BMSs and without BMSs, and at the end of the day, it's not even negotiable. You have to do with a BMS. We actually caught someone's house on fire, and we've been doing BMSs. I think I only have one system today, actually now 2, that doesn't have a BMS on it, and we'll correct that by next week. So recognizing that I do this for a living, I couldn't risk having another fire. Also, I couldn't risk the inconsistency in the cells. I elected to start purchasing the Wico and the Dynas batteries, and I've gotten better results from them. Now I can cook even in the evening. So yesterday evening I made dinner, French fries and hamburgers for dinner. And then this morning I did breakfast, bacon, eggs I did on the stove, bacon and sausages in the air fryer. And then for lunch, for my friend and her friend, I made French fries and hamburgers for lunch. So that was something I'm able to do now I couldn't do before. Had I run the air fryer that evening, the Nissan Leaf, yes, granted I had small capacity batteries, would have cried uncle by 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning. Now with these batteries, I get capacity. This morning was the lowest I've been in a while. I was at 25%. Normally I wake up in the 40s, and the AC runs. So it's been an interesting trip. It's been an exciting trip. It's been enjoyable. I've seen progression. In my case, I've spent a lot of money doing this experimentation, and you know what? I'm very, very thankful that I've had the opportunity to do it. I think my experimenting days are kind of over. The DE inverter has proven itself to be an incredible piece of kit. I am not going to be changing it soon. If anything, I'll add a second one, increase watt loads. I'm increasing my battery capacity by under 30%. So I think I'm in a good place. Well, that sums up my journey so far. If you like what you see, please give me a thumbs up. If you have any questions, please post them in the comment section below. If you're yet to subscribe, please click the subscribe button. Once again, this is Dr. Sola coming to you from Lagos, Nigeria, where it is very sunny.